Hello, everyone. Today I have the wonderful pleasure of talking to Jacelyn Bussell. Hi, Jacelyn.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so happy to meet you.
You too.
Okay. Why don't we start by you introducing yourself a little bit? Why don't you tell us who you are, what do you do right now, and where do you do it? How long have you been doing it?
My name is Jacelyn. I am employed with Lexus. I'm currently at Lexus of North Hills. We're in Wexford, Pennsylvania. It's kind of like the north side of Pittsburgh. Um, I'm currently the sales director here. Started out on the sales floor at this particular store without another Lexus store previously, but currently sales director. And it's such a great brand to be at.
Oh, I bet it is. And I just looking at all of the luxury brands, especially, you can tell that on social media, people really they dress the part, they look the part, they know about the branding aspect of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm very curious to know what were you doing before you got into car sales? Where did you come from?
Yeah. Kind of a mixed background. Never thought I would be in this industry, but I had a friend that tried to talk me into it for quite a while. But um, to go kind of back and get my kind of foot in the door for sales and kind of where I started there. I was married previously, and we had a company together. And we did overstock mattresses. We were very successful. Started kind of through social media, and then just really, really took off and became a full-time thing. It turned into an actual business, right? Um, with that, I kind of touched into the sales side with it. And I'm like, I love this. Like, this is so much fun. I never thought that I would be in sales. When I started the company, I was actually working for community corrections. So complete change or complete course change there. So I really, really enjoyed the sales side. After my divorce, we split the company. I went my separate way, and had some time to kind of try to figure out what I wanted to do. And having that little bit of sales experience with that company that I had, I'm like, I think I want to get into sales. So kind of like played around with the idea of car sales, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, you have this stigma, you feel like, right? Um, and so I ended up getting recruited for an insurance company, life insurance company, and a lot of really good lessons that I learned there. But I also learned that that wasn't for me. It wasn't the type of sales that I wanted to do. A lot more cold calling with that, and it's not as easy, right? You don't have like a physical product to sell, but that was kind of boot camp for sales, in my opinion, for myself, and I don't regret that at all, right? So definitely put me through the ringer on that, and selling a non-tangible product. And so my thing is, if you can sell life insurance, you can sell anything, right? So I figured out after a little while that was not for me. That was not going to be my long-term future. So I got out of that. And this friend that had been trying to get me into car sales, he shout out to Brandon. He was worked at Maserati and an exotic dealership as well. So he was like, you know what? If you're going to work for a brand, work for Lexus. Like, it's a good brand to work for. So he set me up with an interview at Lexus, set me up with an interview at Maserati. And I had job offers both places. I decided to go with Lexus because as soon as I walked in the store, and it was Tom Wood Lexus, I was in Indianapolis at the time. Um, love that store, love the team there. So much of what I do today and how I operate today was kind of built at Tom Wood. But when I walked in, I was like, this is the brand I want to sell. This is the store I want to be in. The vibes worked for me. And so it ended up being one of the best decisions that I've made career wise. So very excited and happy for that. And then in 2020, my now fiance, we had met in Indianapolis where we were. He was originally from this area, and we moved back up here in 2020. So I knew I wanted to stay with Lexus, and I transferred over to the store Lexus of North Hills, and that's kind of my history of how I got here.
That's amazing. And congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you, thank you.
So Can you look back to where you started? You say that when you were in insurance sales, you really got put through the ringer on the cold calling. I feel like that's
Hmm.
one of the hardest things when you start in sales is the dealing with the rejection every single day. Every call is a
Yeah,
rejection. I'd love to hear how that transition was to car sales. Did that really help you in, making your calls or in
for sure.
approaching people?
Yeah, for sure. So one thing about when I was in insurance, and you're making these cold calls, I mean, I sat in a room from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. and you just call. People are hanging up on you. People are saying not very nice things to you. And I mean, it can kind of mess with you, right? Like you feel a little beat down. And the whole goal was to set appointments. So I knew if I got someone on the phone, I had a very short period of time to capture their attention, set that appointment, confirm the appointment, and get off the phone, right? And then I had myself an appointment, right, to set myself up for my house calls. Um, and I would say with car sales, the same thing kind of translates, right? So if you're, there's not as many cold calls in car sales as what there was with insurance, but you're still going through like with your equity mining and things like that, your orphan owners, and you're trying to drum up business. They're already maybe in the vehicle that from your brand, trying to get them into a new one. So in essence, that's sort of it's a warm call, more or less. But um, being able to capture their attention in like the first 10 seconds of the phone call, to be able to make them want to talk to you and figure out what it is that you have to say, that's so important. And so that was a huge thing. And then also just being like a duck and letting the bad stuff roll off your back, because and especially with insurance, I was doing door knocks and things like that. And I mean, I have quite a few stories. We won't go into all of them, but people were not very nice, especially when somebody's showing up at your door. I don't know. I don't love when somebody just knocks on my door either, but um, not taking that negative interaction into your next interaction, because it's back to back, right? And when you're in this business, you've got somebody on the phone, and then they're calling you, there's somebody at the front desk for you, you're with that person, somebody else randomly shows up, so it's very much, you've got to be able to not take that previous interaction into the new interaction with the new guest and carry that over. So for me, it was when I was in insurance, just driving around from house to house, for my different appointments. If it was music, if it was a podcast or whatever it might be, to like kind of get myself centered, get myself back, like I'm ready, right? Like I'm jacked up, I'm ready to sell the next appointment. But whatever you need to clear your mind and get you in the right headspace for that new interaction. And I think that's one of the hardest things one of the things people struggle with the most in this business is not carrying that over into your other interactions, letting it run your day.
What's really interesting is that you did that in the hardest possible way possible, which is cold calls. And when
Mm-hmm.
you came into the car dealership scene, it seemed like it was an easier process because like no, these are
Yeah.
warm people. They're already using the brand.
Yeah. I'm like,
So
what do you mean? There's people coming in to see me to buy the product that I have. They're not
that
telling me like, don't ever call me again, hanging up on me. Don't ever come to my house again, shutting the door on me. It
that
was awesome.
That's amazing that, when anybody who starts in car sales, that's one of the hardest things to get over. And it seems like you just went from a really, really tough spot to like, hey, this is actually a little bit easier. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, what is your best tip for any person in car sales right now that is listening to this conversation who's struggling with that, who's struggling with, doing their calls and getting hung up on and it's really beating them down? What is your best tip for them?
Yeah. So, like I said, being able to find something that kind of clears your mind if you need to take a lap. I mean, I've had interactions with guests before. Thankfully, we don't have that many occurrences, but that have kind of got me a little shook up, right? So rather than either dealing with my salespeople after the fact and taking that into my interaction with them or with the next guest, I might need to take a lap around the building, right? I might need to get in my car, drive down the road, go to Sheets. We have a Sheets gas station down the road, and get a drink, get an energy drink, something like that. But whatever I need to do to kind of get myself de-escalated and centered, we I just had made a post about it recently, but that energy is transferable. I mean, people can feel that. So if you have that nervous energy going into that interaction, or you have that, you can tell that you're a bit on the edge. The guest can feel that. And so I had set up, we had for one of our morning meetings, I had all the salespeople tell me, um, I asked them, what's a song that you listen to that's your hype up song? Like if you had to listen to like your hype up song right now and like you're on top of the world, you can sell anybody any car after you listen to that. What would it be? And so we went around the room and it was kind of interesting to hear because we have, all age groups and demographics. And so hearing like their hype up song, and we made a playlist. And so there for a while, like we would play it in the morning meeting, just randomly on like on a rotation. But it's all about whatever it is that gets you in that right headspace after the fact, and then going in fresh and into the next interaction.
I love it. So, what was the hardest part? Do you remember when you first started? What were the things that you had to overcome at first very quickly?
Yeah. So for me, I think I got too in my head about, you know, I'm a female in this business and like people aren't going to want to work with me, or I have to know like obviously product knowledge is very important, but I have to know every single person is going to want to know the curb weight of this car, the horsepower, the torque, like all this stuff. And so I was so in my head about that stuff when I first started because I felt like I had something to prove. And at the end of the day, I mean, people, they want to work with somebody that they like, right? So the product knowledge comes along with that. But I stress myself out way too much about the little things, right? So know your product, know what you're selling, but don't overthink it, don't overanalyze it, because I mean it's a fun business.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what were there people around you who kind of mentored you or took you under their wing that you remember?
Yeah. So back at the previous dealership I was at, Tom Wood, I had incredible sales managers all the way around, but I had a sales manager, Michael, and he's still there, but he was such like a comforting presence for me, and was really like such a mentor to me. And then also seeing how he managed us and his interactions and how he interacted with the guests when he would do my TO, my turnovers. I pull from some of the stuff that he used to do, right? And then also coming into North Hills, one of our owners, Kevin Whalen, he's such an incredible guy. And his story coming up from nothing, he was raised by a single mom, and had to provide for her, was bartending from a young age, got into Toyota, and then he has been so instrumental with Lexus and Toyota, instrumental in having the Lexus LC, which is one of our sports cars, built in the first place. And so having him here as a mentor, and just he's in our store 4 days a week. And so to be able to have that and have that support, it's just huge to know people like that and have them in your corner.
What is the best lesson that you can pass on to us that you learned from one of your mentors? Before we hear the answer to that really juicy question from our guest, I wanted to tell you how I found her, how she ended up on this video in this interview. I found her on TikTok because she had a strong presence, because she was using the right hashtags, because she knew what she was doing. And that is how your customers find you. That is how you establish your authority in the marketplace. That is how car salespeople make their mark and take control of their careers, by being online. And you need to be on TikTok if you're not already. My name is Ina. I'm the AutoSocialGal, and I'm a social media strategist for car salespeople, for car dealerships. And I have helped hundreds of people with their online presence over the past decade. And now, for the first time ever, I have created a Mastering TikTok for Car Sales course that you can have right now and learn everything I know about how to show up on TikTok, attract your right customers, and also make the experience be right for you. It doesn't have to be silly dances. It doesn't have to be complicated scripts or skits. It can be whatever you want it to be. And in this course, I really put everything that I know so that you can have the kind of presence that is going to make you go from unknown to unforgettable, so that people want to drive 2 hours out of their way to come and buy cars from you. I have you with the list of equipment that you need, with all of the TikTok features. I am going to show you exactly around the app. I'm going to show you how to simplify the analytics process. You don't have to know everything right off the bat to be successful. I'm going to show you how to stand out with your unique personality. I'm going to show you the viral examples so that they inspire you and you know exactly what to post, and so much more. And all of this can be yours right now. And I want to give you a very special $15 off code. The price of the course is going to keep changing. I just put this out there and the price is going to continue to increase. So don't rest thinking that the price is going to stay the same, and grab this code right here for your $15 off, no matter what the price of the course is. Just code this QR code, take a picture of this QR code, or go to autosocialgal.com/TT for TikTok, get it? And use the code YTGals, that stands for YouTube Gals, so that I know you came from this video and you're coming from here. It's all in that QR code. If you go to autosocialgal.com/TT, it already has the code baked into it, and you can go and grab it right now, because I want to see you on TikTok so that I can go and invite you to be on this YouTube channel, elevate your authority, and inspire others. All right, now let's go back to the interview.
I think from Kevin, first of all, pretty much anything that he has told me in his business has came true, right? Like, you stick to the script, you do this, you do that. This is the path that we have planned for you. And so I respect him in that regard. But just seeing how hard of a worker he is, and seeing you can make anything happen, right? He makes me want to dream bigger, and not think so small, right? Because sometimes we get bogged down with just like the day-to-day of the dealership and the day-to-day business, right? But he's such a big picture person. And so seeing how big he dreams makes me want to dream bigger. And and we're not exactly where we want to be yet, but we've definitely saw growth. And I think that's a huge part of that.
I love that. So, do you have a favorite customer story?
Favorite customer story. I have so many good customers. It's funny because I still have customers from back in Indianapolis that I stay in touch with. Um, Probably one of my favorite stories, I would say I probably have two. One of my favorite stories is from when I was in Indianapolis. Um, there was an older gentleman that came in. He was 80, I think he was 86 or 88. He was about 4 feet tall, so cute. He was so sweet. Him and his girlfriend came in, and she had a car that she loved. It was like a Volvo or something. She loved it. He wanted a Lexus UX. It's a little small crossover. And she was, very concerned about, she did not want that car. If something happened to him, she liked her car. So he was so excited to get this car, but he spent all day with me in the dealership. He didn't want to go home, to the point where his fiance was like, I'm going to leave you here. Like, you can just stay here and enjoy your day. We took so many pictures. Like, he had so many pictures, that he wanted to take, but he was the coolest old guy. Had been in like the CIA when he was younger, and he had crazy stories. And it was just being able to get to know your clients on that level. And then he did pass away, not too long ago, but kind of kept in touch with them. The other one, I have a really, really good client of mine. They just recently moved to South Carolina, but he was newer to the country and had never had an auto loan before, and had the assets to be able to pay cash for the vehicle. His wife was still in India and had not came over yet, but she was instrumental in buying the car, and exactly what she wanted to. So I did some kind of remote things with her, just making sure the car was right for her. But I suggested to them that, look, why don't you finance this one? I know that you can pay cash for it, but to be able to establish credit in the US, why don't you go ahead and let's see if we can get this one financed? And so he did, with a co-buyer. We were able to get it done for him because he didn't have that credit history here yet. And it ended up being a really good decision for him. And because it worked out so well for him, he trusted us beyond belief. So he came back for a couple more cars since then. But him and his wife, when she finally came over, she came to the dealership to meet me and their daughter as well. Just the absolute sweetest family. And they really just became like family to me. So I was very sad to see them move to South Carolina, but they're in good hands at the Lexus store down there.
I love that. I'm going to switch gears for a second and ask you, how important is social media for car salespeople to do their job?
I think it's huge, right? So everyone consumes so much video content. And we even, we use a program called Bomb Video here at the dealership.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily social media related, but because it's a video that customers can kind of interact with, and that's what people want to interact with. They want to consume the video, right? And we see huge results and huge success from use of the bomb on video. But it kind of ties into that. They're going to consume some type of video there in social media. But being able to kind of relate to your audience. And like I said, car sales has a stigma, right? Let's just be honest, it does. Used to be the Wild West, and a lot of things have changed in this business. And that was one of the deciding factors for me getting into it was I've had situations as a female going in to buy a car by myself where I felt like I might have been getting taken advantage of. And so that was one of my things getting into the business. I wanted to kind of eliminate that for other, females coming in to buy a car by themselves. But being able to on social media kind of show like, look, we're normal people. We're not here to take advantage of you. We're out here making a living just like anybody else. We don't want to play games either, right? Like this is our career. We're not here to play games. But at the end of the day, like we're not a charity, we're a business. And so being able to find a win that works for the client and for us as well. But to show those kind of things on social media, and just be a little bit more relatable to the customer, I think that that's huge.
I love that. I love that. So you've been doing amazing on social in your videos. That's how I found you. So what is your favorite, best social media hack that you'd like to share?
I think the shorter clips work better from what I've saw from just my analytics. Finding something that's a shorter clip that people are going to watch all the way through and has a hook in the beginning, so that's something that they want to watch until the end. So I found the videos that are 10 seconds or under have typically have taken off the best. And I think that has a lot to do with TikTok wants to push the ones that are being fully watched. So still trying to figure it out myself and figure out like, based on the audience that you're trying to reach, what times is that audience the most active? And it's a lot of it is trial and error. And I'm still going through the trial and error for sure.
I love it, and you are doing amazing. So
Thank you. Thank you.
keep
It's
it up.
fun.
We want to keep watching. Okay, so as we wind down, I want you to imagine that I'm putting you on the stage, and there are thousands of car sales women in front of you. What is your message to them?
Yeah. So like I said, I feel like I overthought it a little bit when I got into the industry myself. Um, but this is such a fun business to be in, and this is a business for women to be in, right? Like this isn't hard work. We're not doing hard manual labor. You get to dress nice and come to work every day. Like this part of it is fun for me, right? But I would say know your product because you will be tested. There are some people that will test you because they think that you might not know as much because you're a female. And my thing was like know my product inside and out. And I'll be the first to tell you, I had some mess ups and I had some blunders. My salespeople love that I tell this little story, but a little bit of self-deprecation here. But when I was on the floor, it's pretty new. I so confidently told a guest that our Lexus LC had a V12 engine. It does not have a V12 engine. It has a V8 naturally aspirated engine with 471 horsepower, not quite a V12. It's an incredible car, not quite the V12 engine though. But I guarantee I only made that mistake one time. But they roasted me for that on the floor, and I will never ever live it down. So I'll be the first to tell you that I made mistakes too. But just knowing your product so that when that guest starts asking you questions, you're well informed. You know what you're talking about. I think that people like to work with females because we have that empathy. and people can feel that. And so we're also typically good listeners. And so listen to your customer, listen to what they're telling you, and don't be afraid to ask the questions. Like, I think sometimes we're afraid to be a little bit direct, but you can be direct with a guest, right? They came into you to buy a car. They're here for a reason. And a lot of times they don't just willingly give you that reason, but asking those questions and figuring out, exactly what it is that they want instead of listening. Okay, I'm here for a Lexus SUV, and you're just going to slam them in whatever SUV that you think is going to work best for them. But listen to them, take a step back, slow down, and figure out what exactly it is that they want. And for me, I figured if you do that, it makes the end process a whole lot easier, rather than getting them settled on the wrong car. And you run into that a lot, right? People aren't listening to what the guest is telling them, that fits their wants and needs. And that's why people don't buy a car. Number one reason is because they're settled on the wrong car. And a lot of that comes from not listening.
So in conclusion,
Oh man. Um, in conclusion, I would just say know your stuff. Be a hard worker, be the hardest worker in the room. Don't let the boys outwork you ever. I did it on the floor, and that's why that I'm in the position I am. I was determined I was going to be number one every single month. So be the hardest worker in the room, be the most knowledgeable person in the room, and stand your ground.
this has been amazing, Jacelyn. Thank you so much for
Thank
imparting
you.
all your wisdom with everyone. Can you please tell everybody where to go and buy a car from you, where to go and find you online?
Yeah, so we are in North Hills in Pittsburgh. We service Ohio, West Virginia area. We pull people from New Jersey, all that. So if you're in this area here, come see us at Lexus of North Hills in Wexford. Um, and my socials, I'm Jacelyn Bussell on Instagram. That's JACELYN BUSSELL, very long. And again, Jacelyn Bussell on TikTok. So that's it.
And we're going to be putting all those links below so people don't have to go and find them. Really, thank you so much, Jacelyn. You are
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
And you are doing so great. We're going to keep watching you. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was nice to chat with you.